Any questions, folks?
This Alabama roster is pretty loaded, pretty balanced. I know that you recruited feeling a little bit, or a good bit. What have you thought of what you've seen from them so far?
Yeah, first of all, with their team, they got a great mix, right? Whenever you can have returning players coming back from a Final Four team, that's where the journey starts. And I think in recruiting, in my opinion, they not only added talented pieces, but pieces that fit, guys that play really good with Sears. And so, yeah, a lot of respect for the roster that Nate put together. In terms of LB, just a really talented guy, a guy that can play different positions, scoring mentality, but also has the skill to play point guard. So he's having a special freshman year.
I know you faced a couple of good offensive teams this year, but when you look at what they do offensively, is there an opponent for you that you can kind of draw from to prepare for this one?
Maybe not quite like the full plan of Alabama. We've played teams before that are very aggressive to shoot the three. We've played teams before that are really good on offensive rebound. That's their identity. The complete package of Alabama, they play in a very unique way. So maybe some of our non-conference games you can pick and choose a few things, but this is a system. This is a way to play the game. Probably more important than their pieces is the system, and give Nate a lot of credit for this. This game presents a lot of challenges, like most SE games do, but no doubt about it, they're as good as advertised.
What are you needing or wanting to see tomorrow night as kind of the challenge increases from these past three games?
Yeah, well, just not specific to Alabama, but just specific to playing a nationally ranked team on the road in conference play. This is a first place game. There's three teams in the SEC right now. They're in first place. We'll be in a game tomorrow night at 6 where two of those three teams are playing. So it's early in the race, but it's certainly an opportunity for us. We'll have to play our best game of the year. No different than when you get to postseason or when you're in championship contention. You got to try to play your best game of the year. That doesn't mean make every shot. That doesn't mean play mistake-free. But that absolutely means, we have to play well. Everybody that plays for us is going to have to play their A game. We're going to have to execute a game plan. But it's an opportunity for us. So it's a real opportunity for us tomorrow at Alabama.
You referenced this Saturday night. I'm curious how you've had a chance to watch some of the film. You guys have obviously closed games really well in league play. You talked about winning time early in games. Have you seen any kind of a pattern as to why maybe some of the starts are slower than you want them to be?
Yeah, it's just not executing our game plan early. LSU transition defense was the biggest thing on the game plan. First 4 or 5 minutes of the game, they get a couple fast break baskets. In other games, it might be, obviously rebounding is the key to any SEC game, but more specific than that, the other team has their best crasher, their best offensive rebounder, so you want to start the game with a heightened focus on that, and then all of a sudden we'll look up, and that guy gets the first offensive rebound of the game. So I think it's probably just attention to detail. They'll give the opponents credit. They're trying to execute their identity and will early in the game too. But I think above all, it's just the discipline to try to start the game like we've been preparing all week in practice.
You talked about Mikal moving in the right direction and all that. As we sit here now, do you anticipate him maybe playing against Alabama?
I hope so. I think it's probably one of those possible deals. Possible, probable, and all that. So he's gotten back to the practice floor for us. So that's a great step. Can he improve enough to play tomorrow night at 6 o'clock? I don't know.
Just with the timing of today, I hope you don't mind if I ask about the Mississippi State game, but it'll be the first time Ole Miss and Mississippi State are both ranked in a game. When you were down south, you talked about just Mississippi basketball and how it's important to have both these programs kind of humming at the same time for the first time, I guess. How significant is that in your eyes?
Yeah, I don't mind you asking, but I'm going to respectfully decline on that. We play Alabama tomorrow at 6 o'clock. 3-0 Ole Miss, first place in the SEC. We're playing against one of the best teams in the country. They were in the Final Four last year. Many picked them to win our league. It's a great opportunity for us. So, there's one thing on my mind. It's not lunch today or what's on TV tomorrow night. We have an opportunity to play against Alabama. We're going to have to play our best game of the year to have a chance to be successful, so that's where my mindset is.
Eduardo Klofke's come off the bench at times, and he's giving you guys a spark on both ends of the floor. What does that say when a guy comes off the bench and gives you that kind of spark, and can you anticipate him getting some more minutes down the line?
Yeah, Klafke, let's think about this. We're a top 25 team here, year two. We've worked hard to build this. I feel like we're competitive enough to be a part of the fight this year. We'll see. And Klafke is a young freshman in our rotation. In today's world of college basketball where people can stay old and get old and fifth-year players still. Last year, I guess the COVID guys playing. For Klafke to be in this rotation speaks a lot about his talent, but also just his persistence and discipline. So he has a real role in this team. I do agree with the question. He brings a lot of energy and intensity. I think our fans caught on to that early on. His teammates have. It's one of his many roles is to bring juice, man. And so, yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him. He's a part of the fight. And I would tell you, again, tomorrow night's game, it's going to sound kind of Captain Obvious here, but this isn't, physics or rocket science here. So, for us to go to Alabama and try to play well in the game, then we're going to need every player that we check into the game to play well. And so Klafke's going to play in this game. He knows it, and I know it, and he'll have to bring a positive contribution. And above all, it's going to be his attitude and his effort and just trying to make winning plays.
On Saturday, you were talking about the player accountability getting better and all that, and obviously the experience of the teams spoke for itself even from the very beginning of the season. Has that side of things, the difficult conversation between timeouts, like you mentioned multiple times this year, that level of accountability, has it come along a lot faster than you initially thought it would at the beginning of the season?
No, not faster. I was hopeful that we could. I was hopeful that could be a real part of our identity. It's improving in the right direction, but you guys know what's about the hit, right? Like some people think we might have the toughest schedule in college basketball remaining. That has a lot to do with how things shake out. But we have a lot of opportunity games coming up. So I hope that the fact that we've been stressing and emphasizing player accountability, I hope that can end up being a positive part of it. And you guys can see it. It doesn't have to. Guy misses a block out. If you're looking at our organization and the head coach is the only guy yelling at that player, then there's not a lot of accountability out there. When you start seeing success too, guy makes an extra pass, sets a great screen. You see guys, North Carolina pointing to guys. You see energy on the bench. I mean, you can feel it. You know when there's some accountability in the program. I think we're a work in progress. I think our guys want to win. They want to do what they're told. But they're not completely there yet. It's like there's a difference between being kind of, I'm all in, coach, I'm committed, versus I have no other plan. I believe in the plan 100%. This is what we're doing, and I think we're right on that line there. And I think as the season continues, if we can just completely surrender to the plan, man, play for the guy next to you, play for the scoreboard and your plus minus, not your stats or your next shot. If that could become a part of our team, then I think we could be pretty good as the season goes on.
Is that what he's done at Alabama? Has he built that over time? And that program wasn't where it is today when he first got there.
I don't know. I'm not at Alabama. What I would have an opinion on would just be that, Sears is a winner. He leads Alabama to the Final Four last year. He decides to come back. He's preseason college basketball player of the year by most people to start the season. Some other guys are getting some well-deserved narrative. Broome at Auburn, Duke, Cooper, those are legit. But, let's don't forget Sears. What's he doing? He's doing exactly what he did when he left the floor last year. He's helping his team win. He leads the SEC in assists right now. But we all know the guy's a bucket as well. So, what I see at Alabama, and again, I'm not there, but I'll answer the question. In my opinion, what I see is Sears still being one of the best players in college basketball, getting his teammates involved, playing on both ends. That's a matchup that we're going to have to really compete and try to have some success in to have a chance to win the game.
Well, Alabama's so deep. They're really fast, third in tempo in the country. Mikal's not able to play. Let's say he's not. How important is it that you don't get in foul trouble?
Yeah, same thing. I think Raquel got hurt pretty early in that first SEC game. Is that right? So, we basically have 3 games in wins without Raquel playing. So, we've had a lot of guys step up and have some special performances. And so it'll continue to be key, whether he plays or not. Again, everybody's going to have to bring your A game, and we're going to have to play really well. I would tell you we'll have to play our best game of the season to this point to have a chance to be successful in this game. Foul trouble, we want to be aggressive. I've never been a big overemphasizer of that. They give you 5 fouls in college basketball for guys playing 25, 28, 30 minutes. You got 5 fouls to use. The one thing we talk about is just the fouls you can control. Don't get undisciplined and be swiping at a ball versus walling up. Don't run out there and set an illegal screen. Be disciplined and do what we teach. But there's going to be some fouls in SEC games. It's the most physical league in college basketball, in my opinion. We spend time talking about being disciplined, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about not fouling because, you get 5 of them. Best players I've ever coached, they understand that. They use 3 or 4 of them wisely each game.
Talking about building programs, in your eyes, has the recipe changed at all from when you were at Fort Scott and Seminole State? How much has building programs the recipe changed?
Yeah, I think the rule changes change maybe some of the ways you get there, but the overall deal hadn't changed. You get it's a player-based business. You get talented players that can compete in your conference. In my opinion, you got to have 3 or 4 all-conference players to compete in this league. You got to have a couple of NBA players to win this league. So it's always been about talent. How do you get those players? You recruit them, but you also develop them. Could Klafke be one of the best players in the SEC somewhere down the line? Yeah, we got to develop them. So it starts in recruiting, but it's also player development, guys getting better. Part of our plan is always to have a great staff, not only talented guys, future head coaches, but guys that can work together. Just like basketball, you can have 5 great players, but can those players play together? We've always worked hard to have a home court advantage. Very appreciative of what we're building here at Ole Miss. It's our 2nd year. That crowd the other night was real. When you think about it, we basically got the arena to capacity with weather being a factor. We only had like 400 students at that game. Classes haven't started. If we can get to where we're averaging, 3,000 or 4,000 students, and those same people come back to the game. But that's always been a part of our plan to develop a home court advantage. A lot of work goes into that. The one thing that has changed is just the rules. As coaches, we don't make the rules. You got to adapt or get left behind. So obviously now with the portal, with name and likeness, with the 5th year COVID, waiting for the NCAA to come out with this new deal. Like, is this 5th year deal real? Maybe. So there's a chance Dart could play college football again if he wanted to.
Conceivably.
Right. So, you wait around on that. You can imagine you're running a business and they change the rules during the game, So it's like, I'm running a restaurant and we stay open until 11 o'clock every night. And all of a sudden, I get a call, hey, you got to close at 7 tonight. You got to be able to adapt and change. And so that's one thing I think's changed over the years. It's just the way the game's changed. You got to adapt pretty quick.
Was Fort Scott probably your first rebuilding job? Is that fair to characterize it as? I don't know what you consider.
That was our first head coaching job. In junior college, every year is a rebuild job because the rosters change. But similar in a lot of ways. We got to Fort Scott. We inherited 3 or 4 players. We brought in 80% of our team new. We had some older guys. We had some freshman guys. We had good staff. We developed the home court advantage. Basically sold out every conference game in Arnold Arena that year. So never thought of it like that. But here we are years later trying to do the same thing. Can we get some players? Can we develop them? Can we get a staff to help our players? And can we develop a fan base and give us a home court advantage?
Any more questions? All right, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it.